Part 6. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 51. As for the destination of the mission, a wooden house in the woods, director he was talking to a muscular young man. Relax director, he said. This young man, named Sui Chao, used to be a coach in a martial arts gym. Sui Chao's career was not smooth. He worked in several fitness centers, martial arts training centers, and martial arts instructors, but in the end he failed. After the training center where he worked at his last job closed down due to poor management, Sui Chao moved to a TV station and became a field support staff. This time to record Desperate Survival, I followed the program team to the wild boar forest. Unexpectedly, director he caught his eye among the many staff members and appointed him to play the role of the owner of the cabin. Sui Chao was both excited and nervous. He is afraid of breaking the pot himself. Director he warned him, the guests who will come to the cabin soon will ask you for maps and supplies, as well as accommodation. You have to find ways to make things difficult for them. Don't agree easily. Sui Chao took the map in confusion and scratched his head naively. What do you mean by making things difficult? How can I master this speed? Just think like this, director, he said, you are really the owner of this wooden house, and you have the map that everyone wants. Don't think about completing the task. Just treat it as your own. As long as the other party can persuade if you like it, just give it to them and enjoy it. After speaking, director he patted Sui Chao on the shoulder. Everyone from the program team, except Sui Chao, evacuated. Sui Chao stood in an empty cabin full of cameras, a little unbelievable. This is a very rare opportunity. His image is not bad, he has a very distinctive appearance, and he also has some boxing skills. Maybe this is his opportunity to enter the entertainment industry. Maybe he can take this opportunity to step onto the screen. What's more, the owner of the wooden house he plays this time is a figure that the guests have to find ways to please. After all, the goal of the guests is the treasure and map provided by the owner of the cabin. The guests must have said all they could to get the map. Think about it. What a pleasant feeling it is to have so many celebrities and big names surrounding you to please you. Sui Chao held a thermos cup and sat cross-legged on the rattan bed of the cabin. Imagine the big star that can only be seen on the screen, Jang Kyun, Bai Muchuan, Chen Ling. The scene of three big stars surrounding him and flattering him. Gaga burst out with joy. Why isn't it here yet? It's already noon. Sui Chao looked at his watch. A little after 1 p.m. Sui Chao stood up from the bed and sat on the plastic chair next to the bed. The plastic chairs are the kind commonly seen in roadside stalls. They are cheap and simple chairs, covered with dirty oil stains. This is a chair that originally existed in the wooden house. For the sake of authenticity, the program team retained most of the things in the wooden house. However, the program team could not contact the owner of the wooden house. They even managed to find staff from the local forestry bureau. The staff said, our wild boar forest covers an area of 100,000 acres. There are many small houses like the ones you mentioned, ranging from 100 to 80. Generally, there are no owners. They are all for convenience for people who go to the forest. You guys, the program team, can use it with confidence and it doesn't cost money. Producer Lin was a little uneasy. The staff comforted him, it's okay. At most, it's time for you to leave. Leave some durable materials in the house, or leave a thank you note. Just be careful not to leave garbage, damage, or fire. Producer Lin took the props team and photography team to decorate the cabin. Although it is said to be a cabin, it is actually not too small, with an area of about 100 square meters. It also has a simple kitchen and a small room for storing wood supplies. The wooden house was in good condition. There were many leftover cans and beer bottles on the floor, and there was also a pile of dirty bottles and cans piled in the corner. There are quite a few. It just doesn't smell very good. Most are made of glass. The program team members analyzed the bottles and jars and guessed that they should be spraying pesticides stored by nearby villagers. There are a lot of hazelnuts and pine cones in the wild boar forest. Many villagers go to the forest to pick mushrooms and dried fruits during their off-season to earn some extra money. But there are too many bugs in the forest, and many dried fruits have been chewed up by bugs. Spraying some pesticides can make the harvest of dried fruits better. In the end, the program team did not move the pots, pans, bottles and cans. They found a military green tarpaulin to cover them and piled them in the corner of the room. As for other parts of the wooden house, the program team did not move much, but only checked the stability and safety, striving to be realistic. There was an unpleasant smell in the room. Ask Sui Chao to open more windows for ventilation if he feels the smell is bad. But Sui Chao didn't care. After all, I had been in a sports school before, and the smell of the men's locker room could be called a biological weapon. In comparison, the sour smell in the wooden house was nothing to worry about. Asterisk. At this moment, Chen Ling and the others had been walking for more than 3 hours, and Bai Muchuan had completely stopped talking. After all, Zhang Qiun spent a lot of time outdoors and worked out regularly, so his physical condition was better. When he saw that Bai Muchuan couldn't hold on anymore, he took the initiative to take over Bai Muchuan's backpack. Chen Ling's steps were as light as when he set out. She took the lead, using a wooden stick to explore the grass and searching for traces on the ground. Occasionally, she would bend down to pick up some hazelnuts, chestnuts, and stuff and put them in her backpack. The forest was very lively. Occasionally, little rabbits would show their heads and curiously prick up their ears to look at the 3 strange guys in clothes. There were also strange insects that would occasionally fall on the clothes. The treetops, branches, bushes, and valleys were filled with unknown bird calls, mixed with frogs and insects, which was particularly lively. The temperature in the forest was 7 or 8 degrees lower than the temperature outside, but it was still hot at noon. The 3 of them were sweating a lot. Chen Ling's eyes were always looking around, especially the ground. Bai Muchuan and Zhang Qiun suddenly heard Chen Ling in front of them say, "I guess we're almost there." The 2 hurried to catch up. Chen Ling half squatted on the ground, checking the muddy and rotten leaves on the ground, and pointed them out to them. "Look, these 2 toed footprints are left by wild boars." The slightly dirty and muddy ground was covered with large and small hoof prints, and there were also many gnawed wild fruits scattered around. Chen Ling knew that this was the trace left by the wild boars who were active nearby. She straightened up, took down her skull bag, and handed it to Bai Muchuan. "Help me hold it, I'll go up and take a look." Bai Muchuan took the skull bag and asked in confusion, "What do you mean by go up and take a look?" Then, his eyes widened. Chen Ling used both hands and feet, shichwashwa, and climbed up a tree in a few steps. Most monkeys would clasp their fists and call him ancestor when they saw it. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 52. Chen Ling was so fast that by the time Zhang Qiun came to his senses, she was already running away. Zhang Qiun opened his mouth in shock. After a while, he shouted, "Hey, be careful, don't fall. This tree is so tall, I feel dizzy just looking at it." He turned to Bai Muchuan and said, "Let's catch up below." The 2 stood under the tree, raising their necks and looking up. Chen Ling likes this feeling of climbing high. It gave her a sense of transcendence and transcendence. Especially if you stay in the oppressive dark forest for a long time, your chest will feel tight. As she continued to rise, the air became crisper and the sunshine became stronger. However, she didn't climb the tree for her own entertainment. She wanted to take a shortcut and find the cabin as quickly as possible. Based on all the current information, the wooden house is definitely within a 2-kilometer radius. Don't underestimate these 2 kilometers. Trekking in the forest itself is a hard and dangerous task. Now the most convenient and quick way to find the wooden house is to stand from a high place and look out. The tree Chengling chose has thick and dense branches, making it easy to climb. Halfway through the climb, Chengling saw a small thing with red light hidden among the branches. Yo! The camera of the program team. Chengling raised 2 fingers, put them on his lips, and blew a kiss to the camera. Mom, help! I was stunned. Sisters. I took a screenshot. Too beautiful. This one is great. I'm bent over. I am already making animated pictures from now on, this one will be my royal blowing kiss emoticon pack. After a while, Chengling climbed to the top of the tree crown. The forest stretches as far as the eye can see, with billowing green waves covering the earth like a huge green quilt. Chengling grabbed the branch to keep her balance, squinting against the scorching sun to look for. Find the target. Not far to the northeast of this tree, there is a small brown roof, which should be the wooden house they are looking for. Chengling quickly slid down the tree trunk. Zhang Qiun stretched out his hand to help her. Sister, how are you? Have you found the cabin? Bai Muchuan asked, rubbing his sore neck from looking up for too long. We found it. Walk a few steps faster. We'll be there in 15 or 20 minutes at most. Leave it to me. Chengling put her backpack on Bai Muchuan's hand and said, let's go. After walking for only 7 or 8 minutes, I smelled the smell of wild fruits. The wind blowing was mixed with the sweet fragrance of wild fruits, as well as the smell of ripe and over-fermented fruits. A patch of relatively short trees loomed in front of me. As Chengling had guessed before, there should be a wild fruit forest outside the cabin. Because of the species, the wild fruit trees are shorter than other trees in the forest. The cabin is located behind the wild fruit forest. Cabin. Big sister. We are here, Bai Muchuan cheered. He ran towards the cabin as fast as he could. Hey, slow down. Chengling quickly called Bai Muchuan. It's a pity that this guy was too excited. There were rotten, half-eaten, and raw wild fruits all over the ground. It was like traps everywhere. Bai Muchuan stepped on a rotten fruit and fell to the ground in despair. Chengling rushed over and helped Bai Muchuan. Is it broken somewhere? You can take 2 steps by yourself. Bai Muchuan patted himself. Even though he fell, he could not hide his excitement. He pointed at the wooden house. It's okay, let's go to the wooden house quickly. Chengling saw that he was walking as usual, except that there was a lot of rotten fruit pulp and juice on his body. He was relieved and was about to follow him to the cabin when his eyes were attracted by a shiny thing on the ground. Syringe. Why do syringes appear? Chengling was full of doubts, but when Zhang Qiun followed, she suppressed her doubts and walked towards the wooden house. Sui Chao, who had been looking out from the wooden house, rubbed his hands in excitement. I'm coming. Here they come. Bai Muchuan, who is covered in dirty fruit pulp, Chengling, who has a pretty face, and Zhang Qiun, who has many songs stored in his mobile phone, are all stars. He was so excited. After taking a few deep breaths, I heard a knock on the door at the cabin. Knock, is anyone here? No matter where Zhang Qiun is, a good tutor will have the upper hand. Sui Chao took a deep breath. I'm the homeowner. I'm the homeowner. I am the boss. They all asked for me. Show off your momentum. The door was opened. Sui Chao's face was revealed, with impatience written on his face. Who is he? Is this acting? Zhang Qiun was stunned for a moment, then he matched his performance and said gently, excuse me. We are explorers in the forest. We passed by your house and wanted to ask you something. Sui Chao looked at the 3 people with squinting eyes, then stepped aside to open the door. Okay, come in. Zhang Qiun and Bai Muchuan walked into the wooden house one after another. Chen Ling was not in a hurry to enter the house. She stood outside the house, observing the wooden house and the surrounding environment. It could be considered an occupational disease. Over the years, she has become accustomed to familiarizing herself with the surrounding terrain, escape routes, and blind spots before entering any building, so that she can escape as quickly as possible when a crisis occurs. Bai Muchuan said excitedly, "You are the owner of the house, right? Hey, we are the guests of Desperate Survival. We received a mission yesterday and said that you have treasure here. Can you give it to us?" Sui Chao snorted coldly, "Is this your attitude when you ask for help?" Zhang Qiun saw this, cleared his throat, and said politely, "Sorry, we are a little presumptuous. However, we really need your things. I don't know what we can do to get you to give it to us." Sui Chao os, woohoo, Zhang Ji Wang, I am your super fan, I am willing to give you whatever you want. But it's not possible now. Director, he repeatedly reminded himself to make things difficult. What should I do? I won't give it to you no matter what, Sui Chao grinned. It must be said that director he is very good at casting. Although Sui Chao is not very old, he has great potential to play a villain. Single eyelids, triangular eyes, light eyebrows, thin lips, and a body of tendons, he looks like a guy who will beat people if he doesn't agree with him. What to do? Bai Muchuan looked at Zhang Qiun for help. Zhang Qiun looked at Chen Ling for help. Hey, why hasn't Chen Ling entered the house yet? Seeing that the two were silent, Sui Chao swished a bald mop handle from the side, gestured with his hands, and shook his head to the sides of his neck twice, and his cervical vertebrae made a clicking sound. Very bluffing. Even director he outside the camera applauded for him. Bai Muchuan looked at Sui Chao blankly. The excitement of finding the cabin before was dissipated a lot. Yes, the mission said that finding the cabin is only the first step. The key is to convince the owner of the cabin to contribute the treasure and map. How to persuade? The owner of this cabin is like a gangster, who is stubborn and unyielding. How to persuade him? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 53. Chapter 53. Sui Chao made a harsh remark, but it did not have the desired effect. These two people did not care about him at all. Their faces were dull rather than fearful. This was a disrespect for the role they played. Ha! Suddenly Sui Chao shouted and started to play with a stick. The stick was in Sui Chao's hand, swinging several times on the left, several times on the right, and more than 10 times in front of his chest. The stick made the tigers wind, and in an instant, the empty wooden house was filled with the shadow of Sui Chao's stick. What a beautiful stick technique! Director he rubbed his hands excitedly, he unexpectedly dug up such a martial arts role. Sui Chao put away the stick, his face was not red, and his eyes became more violent. You few outsiders, walked into my territory without saying hello, and still wanted my treasure and map? Where did you get the courage to be so brave? Bai Muchuan and Zhang Qiun were stunned. This program group, is it poisonous? What's wrong with the guests? Guests are also human beings. Isn't this clearly bullying the guests? What to do? Find Chen Ling. Bai Muchuan screamed and ran out of the open door. Chen Ling was very confident in Sui Chao. When Sui Chao opened the door just now, she could still see the awkwardness, nervousness, and excitement on his face, even though he tried his best to control it. Most likely, it was an extra actor that the director had dug from somewhere. Nothing would happen. At most, he would just chat with Zhang Qiun and Bai Muchuan. So, Chen Ling was relieved to check the structure of the wooden house and the surrounding environment outside. After the inspection, she was still a little worried about the syringe she had just seen. She went back to check. Why didn't Chen Ling go into the house? I have to open 2 live broadcast rooms to see the situation inside and outside the house at the same time. I don't know, she seems to have found something, The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 54. Chen Ling pushed open the door and just stepped into the house. Before she could take a look at the scene in the house, a strong sour and familiar smell entered her nostrils. Her face changed drastically. Then, she sniffed the air deeply in disbelief, and her eyes wandered around the house. Soon, her sight stopped at the corner. There were some pots, pans, bottles and jars originally in the wooden house, which were covered by the program team with grass-green rainproof tarpaulin. This sour smell. Chen Ling is too familiar with it and hates it too much. It is the smell produced when making drugs. Combined with the syringe just seen, this cabin is not a simple cabin, but a drug manufacturing site hidden in the depths of the forest by criminals. The program team is poisonous. Before starting the filming, didn't they go to burn incense and worship Buddha? There are so many cabins in the forest, why not choose any one, and have to choose the same place as the drug makers? What to do? Chen Ling was in a mess. Do the criminals know that the cabin has been requisitioned for the show? Are they nearby? Will the show crew be in danger? If I go forward to check, will I alert the snakes and let the drug makers and traffickers escape? For now, it seems that I can only pretend to be deaf and dumb. But to outsiders, Chen Ling, who was shocked, must have been frightened by Sui Chao's ferocity. Hey, Chen Ling is just a paper tiger, she can only pretend to be weak when she encounters a tough guy. Is it that the show crew added this step temporarily, and Chen Ling didn't have this step in the script she got? Please, my big sister may be thinking about where to start so as not to cripple the person. You bunch of brainless fans, just blow it, you. Looking at Chen Ling's shocked expression, Sui Chao felt so proud in his heart. Little girl, I won't embarrass you, you can go out. Sui Chao pointed at Chen Ling with a stick, but his tone was quite sympathetic. Being pointed at with a stick, Chen Ling finally came back to his senses from his complicated thoughts. Tisk. Let's solve the trouble first. Chen Ling's move was as fast as lightning. He grabbed one end of the mop with his left hand, took a step forward, and hit Sui Chao's wrist with his right hand. It hurts. Sui Chao was in pain and the mop rod immediately slipped out of his hand. Chen Ling took the opportunity to pull back the mop and took away the opponent's weapon. So fast and strong. Sui Chao's pupils trembled slightly. But he remembered the director's instructions and couldn't easily give them the things. I can't give you the things, Sui Chao screamed while covering his wrist. Zhang Qiun was stunned. What kind of plot is this going to? Shouldn't Chen Ling persuade the owner with kind words, soften his heart and change his mind, and be successfully persuaded to give up the treasure and map? After all, gentleness is a beautiful girl's weapon. Most men will throw away their weapons in front of a beautiful woman and give her whatever she wants. I never thought that you used force to make her physically throw away her weapons. Although the owner is fierce, he didn't do anything. Bai Muchuan didn't expect the big sister to take action after a disagreement. What if the owner is a stubborn person and gets angry and refuses to give the treasure and map? Big sister, calm down, don't do it, don't do it. The mission says that we are asked to persuade the owner to give things. Chen Ling's mind is on more important things, and she has no time to think about playing house with them. Her beautiful eyes condensed, and her voice was a little cold. Persuade. Okay. If you want to find out what you guessed in your heart, you must first deal with these stupid guys in front of you. She grabbed both ends of the stick with both hands and rushed her hands together. Crack. The mop rod, which was as thick as a wrist, was broken in the middle. Broken. Broken. It's broken. Sui Chao, Bai Muchuan, and Zhang Qiun were silent. Their silence was deafening. Hey, buddy, Chen Ling handed the two broken mop poles to the side and threw them hard. Is this enough to convince you to give us the stuff? Barrage. Help, help, my humming head is about to fall off with laughter. Poor homeowner, showing off in front of the big sister, selling tap water in front of the Dragon King temple, it's really a lack of taste. Simple, crude, and efficient. Chen Ling, who are you talking to? Facts have proved that actual actions speak louder than 1,000 words. Dear ones, I can't do it anymore, save me, my stomach hurts from laughing, oh my, ha 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 ha. Such a treasure star, why didn't I discover it before? Everyone come, I have opened a super topic of Chen Ling on Weibo. I personally unilaterally declare that Chen Ling is the queen of the entertainment industry. Queen Ling, I kneel down, please accept my knees. I kneel down, please accept my knees. I kneel down, please accept my knees. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 55. Sui Chao looked at the mop broken into two sections in Chen Ling's hand. He was silent, thoughtful, and fell into a maze of thoughts. He has just used this mop, so he can guarantee that this mop is not a prop, but a solid wood. However, the pretty female star in front of her pouted in the air and said, Pia, it was broken. This is no longer a matter of lack of strength. This is all accumulated from actual combat experience. When to use force, where to use force, and how to break it all at once are all important. It's like a group fight. The big brother who takes the lead comes up and shows off his skills. The timing, occasion, and rhythm are just right. The other party definitely retreated a bit psychologically. Chen Ling broke the silence, huh? If you feel that I am not convincing enough, I will try another method. After speaking, she moved her shoulders. Sui Chao was trembling all over. What a nice job. What big stars are around to flatter you? It's all a lie. You succeeded in convincing me. Sui Chao stood at attention. I will give you the things now. Mosquito repellent, compass, and map of the wild boar forest. In addition, there are eggs, milk, dried bacon, canned food, sausages, and drinking water in the kitchen for you. Chen Ling stopped as soon as he saw the good news, and wiped away the evil spirit that had just filled his face. Brother is such a kind-hearted person. Thank you. Sui Chao. I really wanted to be a bad person, but your Pia broke the butt in one fell swoop. The program team is probably stunned. Every step the eldest sister steps on is unexpected by the program crew, ha ha ha. The two of you look at the expressions on the faces of movie Emperor Zhang and Bai Muchuan, they are stunned and shocked. Family members, let me interrupt, there are too many people watching now. Why do I feel like the network is stuck? It's the same thing here, sometimes the screen will rotate in small circles. Hey, is everyone like this? I thought it was a problem with my home network. But there has been no lag before. What happened? Sui Chao's joke made Chen Ling calm down completely. She's recording a show. She is Chen Ling, but not Chen Ling, the captain of H. She is the female star Chen Ling. If she really wanted to investigate, she would have to take into account the time and occasion. Thinking of this, she relaxed a lot. Hey, buddy, what's your name? Chen Ling asked. My name is Sui Chao. Sui Chao answered cautiously. Sui Chao originally gave himself the nickname the One in the Mountains and Wilds, but he didn't dare to use it now. He said his real name directly. Don't be afraid, I don't eat people. Chen Ling saw his trembling look and found it interesting and couldn't help but feel relaxed. Sui Kaoxen said, you don't want to eat people, but I'm worried that you might start a fight if you disagree. He handed over the bag. Chen Ling took it and opened it. There were a lot of bits and pieces in the bag. They were all gadgets for survival in the wild, but in the forest, they were like treasures. She couldn't wait to see the map now. I want to see where my actual geographical location is. Where's the map? Here it is. Sui Chao quickly took out a folded rectangular A4 paper from his front pocket and handed it to Chen Ling. Chen Ling. Dog competition show team. Oh shit. What was actually given was a hand-drawn map, similar to a treasure map drawn by an elementary school student. Draw an abstract house in the middle of the white paper, and draw a few ugly and indescribable trees around it. It says Wild Boar Forest and uses 2 crooked lines to mark Little River. An arrow was drawn from the wooden house, southeast, pointing to a nearby triangular Horsehead Mountain. A circle is drawn in front of Matioyu Mountain, the portal gate. The Chinese characters were written in a crooked way, and they were as ugly as they could be. At first glance, I couldn't even tell that they were in Chinese. That's enough. I actually expected this show crew who was toying with the guests to provide some normal maps. I chose such a gathering place for drug-making criminal gangs, and I was only given such a scrawled map. Chen Ling's mood, which had finally calmed down, started to tumble again. Zhang Qiun saw Chen Ling's hand holding the map trembling and quickly came over. Chen Ling, what's wrong? Chen Ling angrily slapped the map on Zhang Qiun's hand. Look at this map. What the hell? And this word must have been written by catching a few crabs. Zhang Qiun took the map. Yo. This character looked so familiar. He had seen this character written in self-criticism countless times. It belonged to Fu Yubin. Zhang Qiun covered his face. I guess I'm afraid that the guests won't be able to understand the map because it's too professional. After covering his face, Zhang Qiun kindly helped his dog friend. What about that? You go sit down and rest for a while, and I'll give it to you. Pour some water. He felt something was wrong with Chen Ling, especially since she entered this wooden house. She seemed like a loaded gun. Tight, nervous. Zhang Qiun stood up, looked around, and muttered, "Where is the water?" Sui Chao had surrendered, and now he just compromised to the end. Hey, Teacher Zhang, I'll get some water. Zhang Qiun smiled warmly. That's really troublesome for you, Sui Chao. Sui Chao almost burst into tears. Zhang Qiun is such a good person. I can remember my name so well. So polite. Sui Chao brought the mineral water and handed it to Chen Ling. Chen Ling took the mineral water but didn't drink it directly. How much mineral water is left? Sui Chao answered seriously, 5 bottles left. 7 guests prepared 5 bottles of water. The program team is really mean. She opened the lid, took a sip, and asked Sui Chao again, did the person who gave you the map tell you anything? Just as Sui Chao was about to answer, he heard the door of the wooden house being knocked again. Knock knock. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 56. 2 flowers bloom, one on each side. Another team had an emergency. Lu Dengfeng accidentally poked a hornet's nest. Run. Run quickly. Don't stop. A wasp sting will kill you, Yang Zhao screamed as he ran. When she was a child, she went with her family to visit relatives in the mountains of southwest China, and saw a fellow villager who was attacked by a swarm of wasps. The fellow was like a terrifying alien species. There was no good ground from head to toe, and he was twisting and roaring in pain all the time. In the end, the fellow didn't make it through and died in a horrible state. Fitness center coach Lu Dengfeng gritted his teeth and ran wildly. Behind them, a swarm of dark cloud-like wasps chased after them lifelessly. A huge red bump appeared on Lu Dengfeng's neck and the back of his hand, which was caused by a wasp sting. His lungs felt like rust, but he didn't dare to stop. The wasps were very vengeful, but they accidentally destroyed their nest, so they chased them for more than a kilometer and refused to let go. These two people were in a panic and completely deviated from the direction planned by the program team. The program team has made sufficient preparations to prevent the guests from leaving the scope. The program team had limited funds at the beginning, so they arranged as many cameras as possible, but they could not cover the entire wild boar forest. In fact, they only covered less than 1% of the area at most. There are no signal towers around the forest, and the network signal deep in the forest is not good. The program team dispatched a woodland off-road satellite vehicle to provide stable network services in the center of the guest activities. The program team is like a mobile workshop, hiding in the dark and following the footsteps of the guests to film. But for some reason starting from this morning, the network service provided by the satellite car became unstable. What's going on? The signal is so bad. Producer Lin looked at the complaints from netizens on the screen. The field manager took the notebook and guessed, I heard that the forest has a lot of mineral resources, which may affect the function of the satellite vehicle. Producer Lin gave the order, let the on-site network operation and maintenance team help troubleshoot the fault. After finishing speaking, Producer Lin patted Director He and pointed at the screen in front of him, it's good that you found Sui Chao. I have a small role here, which is quite suitable for him. As he was talking, he heard the intercom ringing. The urgent voice of the camera crew came from inside. Camera Team 7 reported that the images of Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng were lost. Repeat, the images of Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng were lost. Director He picked up the walkie-talkie, not realizing the seriousness of the matter. Search for the locators on the backpacks of Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng. Report, locator failure. Locator failure. The locator actually fails. What's going on? Director He immediately felt sweat on his forehead when he heard this. He took out his walkie-talkie and ordered, mobilize all the cameras around Group 7 to search for the whereabouts of the two people. Members of the drone team sent out drones to search at high altitude. Therefore, when the program team discovered that Yang Zhao and the two were in crisis, they deviated from the direction and left the camera range arranged by the program team. When the program team quickly sent people to look for them, there was no trace of the two of them. Why can't we find these two living people? Supervisor Lin was running around in circles anxiously. Director He made a prompt decision, everyone except one group and two groups, please stop what you are doing and let's look for their whereabouts together. This means that program recording should be put second. After all, human life matters. If something happens to the guests, all the staff on the program team will be implicated. Did Lao Turtleju and Lu Zhan meet? Director He glanced at the staff who were staring at the screen. Yes, the two just met, the staff member said. Send staff to follow and confirm the safety of the two people. In addition, one or two groups will stay at the wooden house. The others should clean up and follow to find people. Especially the satellite vehicle. Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng's locators didn't work because they were too far away from the satellite car. Then, what about the show? With the satellite truck taken away, the camera loses the support of the network and cannot broadcast live. This is not the point. First, make sure that Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng are safe and sound. As for the program, the camera equipment can record it, and we will upload it to the internet afterwards. Director He waved his hand. Repeat, one group and two groups stay behind to ensure the safety of the 5 guests and Sui Chao in the wooden house. I will give everyone 5 minutes to clean up and leave in 5 minutes. The camera crew used to switch cameras to broadcast live on the internet based on the actual situation, but now no one cares about it. The live broadcasts of Chengling, Zhangqiun, and Bai Muchuan are all located in the wooden house. No one could see what was happening outside the cabin. 5 minutes later, in addition to the 5 people from the first and second groups who stayed behind, the program crew took an off-road satellite vehicle and explored the direction where Yang Zhao and the two disappeared. The satellite truck is getting farther and farther away from the wooden house, and the camera signal in the live broadcast room is getting worse and worse. Netizens complained one after another. Is the network signal of the program team so bad? Can you crowdfund some additional equipment costs for the program team? The viewing experience is terrible. Don T gets stuck. I can't even see my eldest sister's expression. Someone knocked on the door. Who is the one? Lu Zhan? Old Turtle Dove? Yang Zhao? Lu Dengfeng? It's so stuck. Bai Muchuan is going to open the door. Hey, it seems that the big sister stopped him. It's stuck. What did the big sister say? I can't hear it. Why did the big sister open the door herself? Hey, the person outside the door, isn't it a guest? Is it a staff member? He looks so fierce. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 57. The live broadcast room had a more serious freeze, just like playing a PPT. Finally, it flashed and went black. Then the live broadcast platform popped up a prompt. Sorry, the network is out of order. We are desperately trying to rescue. The live broadcast room was in an uproar. Hey, what's going on? Why are all the live broadcast rooms off? I came from Yang Zhao and Lu Dengfeng's live broadcast room. They seem to have accidentally poked a hornet's nest just now. In order to avoid the hornets, they ran out of the camera coverage. Oh my god, the program was interrupted. Could it be that something happened to these two people? So worried. I hope they are okay. Hey, I just wanted to see the wonderful footage of Chen Ling and the others meeting Lao Banjiu and Lu Zhan, and it's gone now. I was at work and just sneaked into the toilet to see my big sister, but the screen went black. For a moment, the comments on the black screen were rolling like snowflakes, insults, rewards, and speculations, one after another. The four people in the wooden house didn't know everything on the internet. Sui Chao was about to say what the program team had told him to do, but there was a knock on the door. Bai Muchuan was closest to the door, and he stood up and was about to open the door. Suddenly Chen Ling lowered her voice and shouted, "Stop, don't open it." Bai Muchuan was stunned. He looked back at Chen Ling. Chen Ling's whole state changed. If she was a kind of indifferent and detached, although vicious but soft-hearted big sister image before, then Chen Ling now is like a female leopard who smelled the breath of danger, with terrible eyes, fierce expression, and the feeling of her hair all over her body exploding. And Bai Muchuan and the others in the house are the little leopards that the mother leopard wants to protect. Chen Ling's nostrils fluttered a few times, and she was sure that there was no danger. The person outside the house had a very strong smell of blood. It was the stink of human blood. She glanced at the 5 or 6 cameras on the wall, and the red indicator lights behind the cameras flashed frequently. Is this because the network signal is disconnected? I'm afraid that the people standing outside the wooden house at this moment are not arranged by the program team. Chen Ling is so familiar with the smell of human blood that she hates it, and she will definitely not smell it wrong. So, who does this human blood belong to? Where are the people from the program team at this moment? Are they still safe? The problem is that the live broadcast network is disconnected, which means they are disconnected from the outside world. There was no time to think carefully, and the people outside the door were a little impatient and changed from knocking on the door to knocking on the door. Pa pa pa. Chen Ling raised her finger to her lips and lowered her voice. You will adapt to the situation and cooperate with me later. Be more natural. Zhang Qiun and Bai Muchuan have established all-round trust in Chen Ling along the way, and they nodded naturally. Sui Chao didn't know why, but out of admiration for Chen Ling's martial arts, he also nodded. Chen Ling took a breath, and the solemnity and fierceness on her face disappeared without a trace. A naive smile appeared on her face. I'm here. She opened the door. Outside the door stood a man with 7 or 8 old scars on his face, thick eyebrows, cloudy eyes, rosacea, thick lips, and a tall figure that looked like a ferocious blind bear. Chen Ling blinked her watery eyes, looked at the person outside the door harmlessly, and then looked outside. Hey, who are you? There were 7 people standing in the open space outside the wooden house. Is there anyone else in the woods? I don't know. But Chen Ling was immediately very sure that this group of people was the drug-making gang, the desperate gang. After 0.001 seconds, an idea flashed through her mind. Why not just take the man in front of me as a hostage and force the people outside to leave? But Chen Ling immediately gave up this idea. These criminals are all crazy and selfish. They will never leave for the lives of others. Instead, they will anger them and kill Chen Ling and the others together. Even if there are 8 criminals outside, Chen Ling is sure that she can escape unscathed. But she can't retreat. She is not alone. Behind her are Zhang Qian, Bai Muchuan, and the immature young man Sui Chao. The fierce black bear-like man outside the door spoke. There is a stench of long-term drug abuse in his mouth. Who are you? Why are you in our house? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 58. Chen Ling looked frightened, and her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. I saw that, she said pitifully. Ah, is this your wooden house? I'm sorry, we don't know. A Sheng. A man who looked polite outside the wooden house spoke. Brother Chi, the black bear man, immediately stepped back respectfully. Chen Ling took one look and immediately determined that this man named Brother Chi was the leader of this group of people. Chi Ge wears elegant glasses, a neat light gray polo shirt, dark blue casual pants, and black sneakers. He is about 40 years old and has his hair combed into a 3/4 length. If this man said he was a university professor, some people would believe him. Brother Chi stepped forward with soft eyes, as if to comfort Chen Ling. Girl, you don't have to be afraid, we are not bad people. We can also understand that it is human nature for you to go into the house to rest when you are tired in the forest. Ah, it's not a rest, we are borrowing the wooden house for a few days. Chen Ling blinked her big innocent eyes and rambled. Well, our leader said that he wanted to rent this wooden house, but he couldn't find the owner. There was no phone number or anything like that. Chi Gexen said, do I still have my contact information? Can you wait for the police to find the drug manufacturing site and contact me to report it to the police station? Leader, where are you from? Who are you? Brother Chi narrowed his eyes. Also, what are you doing in this deep mountain and old forest? Oh, we are from the TV station. We came to this forest to collect information. We want to make a documentary about global warming and environmental protection. They are going to the forest to shoot small animals now, Chen Ling explained with a smile. We all have. I'm an actor. I don't have any scenes today, so I'm just resting in the house. She looked like a greenhouse flower that had never seen wind and rain, simple and without any scheming. Brother Chi looked at Chen Ling and then at the people in the room. Bai Muchuan, a handsome young man, Sui Chao, who looked good, and... Huh? Is this Zhang Qian? Brother Chi's face darkened. There is such a big star. Tricky. The man who looked like a black bear, a Sheng, said angrily, who knows whether you stole our things or not? Sui Chao said naively, no, that's for sure not. We, the director, were afraid of damaging the things in the wooden house, so we covered everything in the house with tarpaulins. You will definitely be missing something. Chen Ling shouted in her heart. Sui Chao's answer was very sincere, so that the drug dealers thought that their drug making was not exposed. At least you can buy some safety time. Chen Ling was analyzing the safety in her mind, and so was Chi Ge. The illegal and criminal things they did were so serious that even losing their heads 10 times would not be enough. This group of well-fed city dwellers went to the mountains and forests to make a documentary, and they chose their own wooden house. The demand for this batch of goods was so urgent that we didn't have time to clean up the poison-making equipment in the wooden house. Fortunately, this group of people didn't notice it now. Was he going to risk letting them go? Or should we take the risk and kill these people without stopping? Brother Chi glanced at Jang Kyun again. There is Jang Kyun here. Everyone in China knows this big star. It is estimated that countless people traveling around know it. If he disappears in the woods, a large number of police and reporters will definitely be attracted. Do they really not know what the bottles and jars in the house are for? In an instant, countless thoughts went through Brother Chi's mind. At this time, the timid female star spoke up, I have to say a few words. Those jars containing pesticides or insecticides that you piled up in the house smell too bad. Hey, I asked the director to just throw it away, and the house would leave some money for you as compensation, but our director refused, saying that occupying other people's houses is too much, and we must not throw away other people's things. Containing pesticides? When Brother Chi heard this, he felt relieved. As I get older, I become more afraid of things. Also, these people have probably never seen drugs, so how can they possibly know which jars are used to make drugs? What are you thinking? Do you still want to kill so many people? I've been feeling flustered lately, and I'm afraid something might happen, so I'm probably so nervous. Recently, his boss, Tank, has become more and more strict with himself. He doesn't want to bother Tank with this kind of thing at this juncture. The less trouble, the better. Thinking of this, Brother Chi laughed, little girl, you'd better listen to your leader. Fortunately, you didn't touch the jars containing pesticides. In recent years, the insect and rat plague has been particularly serious in the forest. We started from the town. I bought a lot of pesticides online, and they are very poisonous. If you get them on your hands and eat them without washing them, you may be killed. What? Chen Ling clutched her chest with lingering fear, it's too scary. However, we are all back. I'm afraid you have to make room for us. Let's go in together so that we can help you clean up, Chi Ji said. After he finished speaking, he waved, and several other men followed him. Standing at the farthest end was a middle-aged skinny monkey with a skinny head, who also wanted to come over. Brother Chi waved his hand. You scumbag, you don't have to come in. This room is small and can't accommodate so many people. Chen Ling knew in her heart why there couldn't be enough room for so many people here. They were clearly keeping an eye out outside the house. Brother Chi walked in from the wooden house with a few people. Chen Ling looked at everyone coldly and observed them. Then, her eyes fell on a black box held in a man's hand, and she was surprised. This box? PTH-8794 Signal Jammer. This is the latest advanced signal jammer developed by the international military. It was originally used to interfere with missiles by shielding signals, and later it was widely used to isolate the network. In layman's terms, when this machine is turned on, all network communication equipment within a 2-kilometer radius of the machine will be paralyzed. This kind of high-tech goods will not appear in either the open market or the black market. But this group of people in the deep mountains and old forests got such top-notch high-end goods. Chen Ling's heart slowly sank. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 59. Kaj led all his men into the house except Lapizai. The originally empty wooden house suddenly became crowded. After entering the house, Kaj's eyes quickly turned around and looked around the house. When he saw several cameras on the roof, he subconsciously dodged. He turned his head and asked, "What's the matter with these cameras?" Chen Ling narrowed his eyes. This person is afraid of cameras. Kaj is not only afraid of cameras, but also afraid that the cameras will take pictures of the drug-making equipment in the house. If someone sees the video and recognizes it afterwards, he will be unlucky. Ah, it's a surveillance camera. After all, working outside, the equipment is expensive, and there are many people. I'm afraid that if something happens during the filming, it's hard to explain. It's safer to have surveillance. Bai Muchuan nodded. He realized that this group of people came with bad intentions. He knew that his IQ was low, and he was afraid of saying the wrong thing and causing trouble for the big sister, so he kept his mouth shut. No, you are invading our privacy. The wooden house is our private residence. We have done our best to let you live here, but you cannot record in my house, so we have to take away the video materials. Chen Ling frowned. Ah, I finally took the video. What? Do you have any objections? Ah Sheng snapped his knuckles and looked at Chen Ling threateningly. Chen Ling looked frightened and immediately hid behind Zhang Qiun. Brother Zhang. Zhang Qiun was stunned, but then his back stiffened. Chen Ling took the opportunity to stand in the blind spot of everyone's vision and slowly wrote on his back with her fingers. Give it to him. Zhang Qiun understood. After all, he is a big star, so his words should carry more weight. Chen Ling, a little girl, who frequently speaks up and makes decisions, will inevitably arouse the other party's suspicion and attention. She is now a harmless and weak girl in front of the enemy. She has to let the other party relax their vigilance against Chen Ling so that she can attack them by surprise. Zhang Qiun cleared his throat and acted like a big shot. Everyone, it's wrong for us to come in without invitation. Your request is reasonable. We don't want these things anymore. You can do whatever you want with them. Xiaoling, don't be willful. Chen Ling pouted. Well, if the leader blames me, I won't take the blame. I will explain to the leader that I didn't stop you. She looked like a little girl who was afraid of the leader and afraid of taking responsibility. This is a perfect acting skill. Even Zhang Qiun believed it, not to mention the rough guys on the opposite side who had "I am not a good guy" written all over their bodies. Qi Ji waved his hand. Several men immediately dismantled the camera and took down the video machine placed in the corner. Chen Ling stared, and saw Qi Ji bend down, take out the videotape in the machine, and break it with force. Then Qi Ji straightened up and kicked the machine aside. Chen Ling breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. Although Qi Ji had some knowledge of technology products, he didn't know much. He didn't realize that this was not a surveillance camera, but a video recorder for live broadcast. In this way, Chen Ling and the others were safer. However, Chen Ling looked at Qi Ji. She keenly discovered that this person's right index finger had a mark of long-term pressing on a sharp weapon. There is a profession that will leave such a mark in this position: surgeon. When a surgeon uses a scalpel, the index finger presses on the back of the scalpel. Over time, such an indentation will be left on the fingertips. Understand the law, have knowledge, have brains, and can also get special equipment from the military. A surgeon with a criminal record, maybe his name contains the word Qi, so it won't be too difficult to determine his identity. Qi Ji sat on the chair, crossed his legs, took out a cigarette box and took out a cigarette. Ah Sheng immediately took out a lighter and lit it. Brother Qi took a deep puff of cigarette and slowly exhaled. Where is the surveillance videotape? I have destroyed it. The equipment is valuable, so I won't destroy it. I know you are not the ones who make decisions. I won't make it difficult for you. Just sit here and wait for your director to come back. Zhang Qiun exchanged glances with Chen Ling. Chen Ling blinked. Zhang Qiun panicked. Wait, I haven't learned to communicate with my eyes. What does blinking just now mean? But Chen Ling had already looked away. Zhang Qiun had no choice but to bite the bullet and speak freely. That's right, it just wasted your precious time. Don't worry, Don't worry, we have nothing to do, it won't waste anything. Brother Chi held the cigarette between his fingers and smiled amiably. Just, everyone, please hand over your mobile phones, we want to see if you have taken anything you shouldn't have taken. Brother Chi has a signal jammer, so these people can't call the police or call for help, so he is so fearless. The room fell into a strange silence. Mobile phone? Chen Ling and the others don't have mobile phones. They were all taken away by the production crew before the show was recorded. But who would believe that a modern urban person doesn't have a mobile phone? Mobile phones are an important organ for modern people. Chen Ling said, "Brother, we don't have mobile phones. The leaders are afraid that we will secretly leak the content of the filming and delay our work, so they took them away before coming to the forest." After that, she turned out all her pockets first, and then dumped her backpack on the ground. Then, Bai Muchuan and Zhang Qiun did the same. Sui Chao was grateful. The director team was afraid that if Sui Chao brought his cell phone, it would be snatched away by some robber guests, here specifically Chen Ling, so they took it away. So he also turned out all his pockets. Chi Ji took a deep breath and actually accepted their words. I understand. Thinking back to when I was, hey. It's really not easy for modern workers. Bai Muchuan agreed, that's right. When I was filming in the crew before, my agent didn't let me touch my cell phone for more than 10 days. Just then, a series of whistles sounded outside the wooden house. Chen Ling was very familiar with it. The H-Rangers also have their own secret codes. Every member will repeatedly practice and memorize the meaning of each slogan during training. This series of whistles should be the secret language of this group of people. Exclusive code. Chen Ling naturally didn't understand it. Chi Ji listened for a while, and the whistles stopped. Chi Ji smiled. You have another colleague here, you have quite a lot of colleagues. Colleagues? Who? Someone from the program team? Or a guest? Without giving Chen Ling much time to guess, she heard a familiar man's voice outside the house. Hey, who are you? Is this the wooden house of our program group? Oh my, I'm so tired. It's Lu Zhan. A chill suddenly ran down Chen Ling's spine. Whether it's Zhang Qiun, Bai Muchuan, or Sui Chao, the three of them already know that the current situation is dangerous and will definitely not talk nonsense. But Lu Zhan is different. This man has no brains and no vision. What if he talks nonsense? It's so easy to let the drug dealers relax their vigilance. As long as he says one wrong word, all the efforts made by Chen Ling and others will be in vain. Damn it! The veins on the back of Chen Ling's hand are tense. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 60. It is not Chen Ling's character to sit and wait for death. She always tries her best to gain the greatest benefit. Chen Ling quickly glanced at the position of the people in the room. She rehearsed in her mind how she would save everyone after Lu Zhan exposed the information. She wanted to pull Zhang Qiun behind her, kick Bai Muchuan to the ground with her feet, and force Lu Zhan to squat. Sui Chao was closest to the window, so she threw him out of the window, and then punched and kicked him one by one, and also strangled Chi Ji's neck. What about the remaining scoundrel outside? At this point, it is unlikely that she can guarantee that everyone will be unscathed. But, if she can protect one, she will protect one. The door was opened, and Lu Zhan walked in. Seeing so many people in the room, he was shocked. He froze at the door. Go in! Someone pushed him from behind. Lu Zhan staggered a few steps into the room without standing still, and the one who appeared behind him was actually the old dove. Old Banjia picked up Lu Zhan on the way, and took him to the wooden house out of humanitarianism. He was cold and quiet, and Lu Zhan had a headache all the way. Unexpectedly, when they finally arrived at the wooden house, Lu Zhan stood stupidly at the door and didn't go in, so he pushed him. Old Banjia was also stunned when he saw the people sitting or standing in the house. Why are there so many people? Moreover, old Banjia's eyes swept over Chi Ji sitting at the table and a Sheng standing behind him like a black tower. Why do these people have such a strong underworld atmosphere? Then, his eyes fell on Jiang Qiun and Bai Muchuan's faces, and finally glanced at Cheng Ling. He was stunned for a moment. Cheng Ling didn't look at him, but she clenched her fist to her mouth. This fist-clenching method. 4 fingers raised to the thumb close to the palm, 4 fingers hold the thumb. This is an internationally used gesture to hint for help. Did she do it unintentionally or on purpose? The old dove was in doubt, only to see Cheng Ling tapping her heart with her little finger again. This is the be careful gesture commonly used by the Chinese people. She didn't make this gesture unintentionally. The old dove was certain, Cheng Ling was reminding herself to be careful. Lu Zhan didn't see anything unusual, he frowned and looked around at the various people in the room. Where is the director? I'm so tired. Cheng Ling also complained, the director went to collect folk songs. Really? I will never accept this kind of environmental documentary again. Lu Zhan was stunned, and before he could answer, he heard the old dove say, after all, it's the main theme. Lu Zhan continued, who are you? You took down the cameras, how can you be online? He wanted to say live broadcast online, and the old dove naturally took over. People on the internet say that our fellow villagers are warm and hospitable, why are you so rude? Before she came to participate in the show, she had learned the information of each guest in detail. And this old dove is a master. Over the past decade, he has traveled to more than 120 countries and regions, including many uncivilized wild areas and backward areas where people kill, rob, smuggle and sell drugs. The old dove must be very capable to survive until now. So, she made those 2 gestures, hoping that the old dove could sense the crisis and be careful with his words. Cheng Ling was very satisfied with the old dove's reaction. Lu Zhan was stunned and wanted to say that he didn't mean that, but before he opened his mouth, the old dove spoke first. Who are you? Brother Chi smiled and said, I am a fellow villager nearby. The wooden house is the property of our village. You are not invited to come in. We want to discuss an explanation with your person in charge. Lu Zhan didn't feel the tense atmosphere in the air at all. He just touched his nose and said, do you want money? How much do you want? Our program team is quite rich. Moreover, let alone the program team, our brother Zhang, the movie emperor, can transfer the amount to you as long as it is not too large. Cheng Ling immediately poked Jiang Qiun on the back when she heard it. Give. Jiang Qiun digested it for a while before he understood what Cheng Ling meant. She was asking him to give money to these people. But how to give it? When he came to record the show, all his belongings were taken away by the program crew. Cheng Ling wrote behind him, mobile phone. Jiang Qiun suddenly realized. Just because they didn't have mobile phones didn't mean that these people didn't have mobile phones. As long as he got the mobile phone and transferred the money, the people in his studio should have realized that something was wrong. Especially after the abnormal interruption of the live broadcast, if a large amount of money was transferred, the people in the studio would definitely be alert and call the police as soon as possible. Smart. Really smart.